How to change the brakes and rotors on a 2007 Toyota Camry. You should already know how to take the wheel off. If you don't know how to take the wheel off, then something fucking wrong with you. But the lug nuts are 21 millimeter. Then you come here. What I do is I break the caliper bolt here loose. That socket is a 14 millimeter. Break it loose. You can use a pry bar or whatever you want, screwdriver to pry in the piston. I use the trusty C-clamp. You can never go wrong with a C-clamp. Get my socket. Take the C-clamp. Sit it here. Place it on top of that nut. Tighten it down, the brake piston to move in. You want to tighten that till it goes all the way in. You would know it's in because it should be hard to turn. And in between there, you should see the brake pad and piston push in. If it don't push in, then you got a problem with the caliper. The piston is frozen. So that means you're going to have to replace the caliper. I already loosened the first one, as you can see. Once you loosen the bolt and you pushed in the caliper piston, remove the bottom bolt. You only have to remove one because the whole thing swings open. This is your brake piston. I don't give a fuck how it looks, not my vehicle. And these are your brakes. As you see, I already took off a clip. I already had this pre-done. They come with these little clips. The clip sits on the brakes like this. One at the top, one at the bottom, like that. Then pull your brakes out. I normally take it out, sit it right on that side. Take the other one out, sit it on that side. And look at the deep gouging in the brake pads. That let us know all those pits, all the pits inside the rotor is what's tearing these brakes and rotors up at the same time. That's the outside. And I don't know if you can see, but that's the inside. You get the big picture. And I leave my brakes on the same side because sometimes they come with the squealers on the other side of the pad. And you want to make sure that brake pad and that squealer is in sequence. That way you don't have it on the wrong side. Then what you would do is, as you see, I loosened up the caliper bracket. This is the caliper bracket. This whole front piece here. That is a 17 millimeter. I normally do the bottom, loosen that, then I loosen the top, which is back here. 17 millimeter. I have those both loose. That's one. And the other one is here. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but they are loose already. Two. Swing this close, and the whole thing should come up and out. And normally, I just take it, give me a second, and sit it up there, out of the way. But you do not want to kink this rubber hose. You don't want to put stress on it. I sit it there, then I'm going to grab a bungee cord or string or whatever I got, and tie this caliper up. You do not want it to hang down. Here's your rotor. This rotor is seized on there, so it will not just fall off. So, got to get a hammer and bang the shit out of it. Doesn't matter where you hit it, as long as you do not hit the studs, because we're replacing the rotor anyways. So when we get this rotor all banged up and get this the fuck off, we can do the reversal process of putting everything back together. So give me a minute to get this rotor off. So we are back. We got our baby sludge, and I done whacked it 2 times, and now the rotor is loose. So now take this off, put the new one on. So this is what it looked like with the rotor off. Now let's walk over here. Get our mess. We got to do the front and the back. Find the front rotors, which is these ones. The back ones are deeper, look like more like a top hat. Those are the rears. These are the fronts. Grab our front rotor, bring it back over, and what I do is I clean it. I got some brake clean. I sit the rotor on a studs backwards. Spray the brake clean on it. Take my microfiber cloth, clean off the oil that comes on it. Then I spin it around, put it on the correct way, spray it with the brake clean, and then the microfiber cloth clean that. So let's get this cleaned up and get the rotor on. Alright, we got that as clean as we're gonna get it. We got a little dirt spots on it because I got gloves on. My hands are still dirty. So now let's get the caliper bracket back on and we'll go from the next step. Okay, when installing the caliper bracket, as you see I did the top one. It goes in between the spindle and the rotor. So it goes there. It goes in between. And your bottom bolt goes down here. Get that lined up, tighten that up. Let me get that lined up. I got the caliper bracket bolts tightened down. Don't just tighten them all the way down. Tighten it down, back and forth. Up, down, up, down. When you get close, snug it. Get to the bottom, snug that. Then you can go ahead and torque them down or tighten them down to the Pacific spec. Now we got to get our brakes in. Got to walk over here, find our box of brakes. These ones. Front ones are always bigger than the rear in most cases. So, not only that, I matched them up already. So, these are old brakes. These are the new brakes. Same size. Like I said, I keep my brakes on the same side. That way, if it got a squealer or some type of indicator on the other side, I match it up. But these don't have it, so these are universal. You could just take two brakes, stick them up there. I could be wrong. I have to look at these new ones. According to the old ones, it don't have no squealer on it. But let's see what the new ones look like. Yeah, the old ones didn't have no indicators on them, but the new ones came with them. Could barely see them, but it's 4 in a pack, so apparently both sides get a squealer indicator. So we're gonna get these indicators on there. That way when our brakes are getting low, these little squealers is what I call them, they hit the rotor and let you know that your brakes are getting low. So let's get these indicators on and get the brakes in. So I got the brake pads in. I got an indicator on both top and bottom of the front brake pad. Sometimes they go on the front. Sometimes you got to put the indicators in the back. I'm assuming they go on the front, and we're going to test them out. But another reason I assume they go on the front because the caliper bracket closes with no problem. Now that that's closed, take your caliper bolt, which we got a little bit of grease on it. Line it up, screw it in. Tighten up that bolt. And we done with this side. Alright, I got the caliper closed. I know y'all like, well, I thought you said you were putting the little clip back in. What about the clips? Fuck that shit. That shit overrated. You don't need them. All you gotta do is go in the car, pump the brakes. It's gonna push the piston back out. Then we're gonna go to the other side. I'm not gonna show you the other side because it's exactly identical. Same for the front, and it's the same for the rear. Same steps for the front, same steps for the rear. Also, you can push the rears in with the C-clamp or use a pry bar to push the brake caliper in. You do not need the emergency brake cube or caliper kit because this is a straight direct pushing rear piston. So that being said, Make sure you comment, leave a like, and subscribe to my channel, please. It'll help me out a lot, and I'll help you out a lot by giving you how-to educational videos. Again, thank you, and y'all have a good one.